Good afternoon, students and counselors. My name is Lauren Vargas, and I'm going to be facilitating your session today with Michigan State University. Just a few housekeeping notes this afternoon. You all are muted and your videos are off, so the presenters cannot hear you or see you. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask throughout the presentation, just use the Q&A feature to ask your questions, and they will get to those as they see them. We encourage you to sign up for more sessions at oacac.org. The schedule is there, so you can see what other universities and colleges are offering sessions throughout the next couple weeks. And a recording of the session is going to be available after. So if y'all would like to come back and review it, we welcome you to do that as well. So I'm going to turn it over to our presenters, and I hope you all enjoy this presentation by Michigan State.
All right. Good afternoon. Oh, we got our slideshow up. Okay, good afternoon. My name is Iris Shen Van Buren. I also have with me my colleague, Riley. I'll have him introduce himself real quick.
Hello, everyone. My name is Riley Van Pelt, and I'm an in-state admissions counselor at Michigan State based in the East Lansing office, and we're very excited to present to you today.
Yes, and I am the manager of recruitment for Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky. So if you have any questions, please feel free to use the question and answers box, and I will answer them at the end of my presentation. I also have a few videos I'll be sharing during the meeting, so you can also see the beauty of the MSU campus. So MSU is located in East Lansing, Michigan, near the state capital of Lansing. We are a Big Ten research institution, the Pioneer Land Grant University, which is accessible to a diverse population of our students. They come from all over the world. We have about 49,000 students at MSU, about 39,000 are undergraduate students. Our incoming freshman class is 8570. About 1/4 of our students come from out of state or are international students. About 22% are students of color, 10% are in our honors college. And students come from all counties in Michigan, all 50 states, over 120 countries from around the world. Riley, next slide, please. You may have to hit it again. Yep, there we go. Please turn the volume off. Yes, thanks. Anyway, MSU has over 200 different majors and 17 degree granting colleges. We have 5 professional colleges and only one in the nation with 3 medical schools. So we have a osteopathic medicine, human medicine, and veterinary medicine school. We also have a college of nursing and a college of law. So our most popular 5 majors are business, computer science, mechanical engineering, human biology, and kinesiology. And yes, we are large, but we have a 16:1 student to faculty ratio. Most of our classes are taught by professors and have 50 students or less. So we also have 3 residential colleges on our campus with smaller living learning environments. In these programs, the students live with their classmates. They have about half to 3/4 of their classes in their building. Their professors' offices and their classrooms are also in their building as well. These are the Lyman Briggs College, which is STEM, math, science, computer sciences, James Madison College, which is international social relations, public policy, and law, Residential College of Arts and Humanities, which is fine and performing arts, literature, languages, history, culture, and civic engagement. And there are no additional requirements. Students just need to indicate their program as their major. So we also have additional living learning communities available in business, engineering, and environmental sciences, among other things. And our student success rate, we have about 92% freshman retention rate. We use our engagement centers, which are located in each part of campus, to support our students' needs. And then following graduation, about a 93% job placement rate, which is 12% higher than the national average, and almost 500,000 alumni around the world, about 10,000 coming from Ohio. Ohio also has the 4th highest number of students to MSU, so students will be in good company. If you see a Spartan, greet them with "Go Green." So MSU's Honors College is open to all of our majors and by invitation only. Top 5% of the graduating class, generally around a 32 ACT or a 1440 on the SAT, will have you invited to Honors College. Make sure you do apply early because that can fill up. So our perks for Honors College is having the flexibility in academic programs to make it easier to add additional majors and minors, having priority registration for classes, and the possibility of paid professional professorial assistantships for academic research. So our Honors College also has some really good scholarships, so we do recommend apply by November 1st for more scholarship opportunities. Next slide, please. So MSU ranks in the top 25 schools for opportunities in entrepreneurship. Any major can use the resources in the Hatch to start a business. It allows students to work with a mentor. If you have a proposal, you can get some seed money to start your own business, which is really kind of cool. As undergraduates, you can also do academic research. It's open to all majors. You can be an art major, a music major, an English major, a science major, engineering major, business major, whatever you want to do. Research is accessible beginning in freshman year versus waiting until your junior year, like in most institutions. So if you want to get an early start and get involved, you can absolutely do that. In fact, the College of Social Sciences has a social sciences scholars major or scholars program where you can even get some help in terms of writing a book and those kinds of things. So doing a lot of different things with our academic research. About 1/4 of our students do take study abroad. Oop, go back to the slide before, thanks. 1/4 of our students take an education abroad program. Programs are listed on all 7 continents, including Antarctica, and we do have internships abroad as well if you want to get some job experience as well. Our out-of-state students automatically get a presidential study abroad scholarship, $3,000 or $5,000 based on the length of your program, and it's a one-time scholarship. So it can be used anytime from freshman year through the 8th semester at MSU. We also have 900 student clubs because we know that at a Big Ten institution, you don't want to stay just in your hall sleeping and studying. You want to get involved and get active as well. So we have groups such as our Greek life and fraternities and sororities, the Divine Nine, multicultural groups and clubs, academic clubs, intramural club sports, Division I athletics. So there's a lot to do at Michigan State University. Next slide, please. So MSU currently has flat rate tuition where you pay for 15 credits, but you can take 12 to 18 credits. This helps to keep our students on track for a 4-year graduation, can also add additional value to your education. Next slide, please. Students are automatically considered for scholarships with their application. Most do not require any kind of supplemental information. So the scholarships are awarded through March. So if you are applying with a test score, you can submit your additional scores until about February. So if you think, okay, I can score a little higher, maybe get a little bit more scholarship money, go ahead and send in those scores. If you are applying without a score, and I will talk about this shortly, you will not have to worry. It will not hurt or hinder your scholarship opportunities. So some scholarships also do require the FAFSA for consideration. So make sure you go ahead and fill that out no matter what your family income is. And then also consider external sources for additional scholarships towards your tuition and everything. Next slide, please. So admitted domestic Ohio students also receive the Ohio Spartan grant. This is a $10,000 a year grant for up to 4 years, 8 semesters at MSU, about 20% off of your overall cost. It's about 25% off of the cost of tuition. This can be stacked with other scholarships, including our honors scholarships. So definitely as a student from Ohio, this is a really helpful part of your cost for attendance. So in applying to MSU, we do want to take a look at some specific information. You'll want to go ahead and go on either the Common App, the Coalition app, or the MSU app to make your application. Any of those are fine. You do need to make sure you send in your high school transcripts as soon as you are able to do so. We do look at your initial review of your 9th through 11th grade grades. So it's important that when you send that transcript in, make sure everything is there. Send in if you are taking AP, IB, or honors courses. We definitely recommend that helps to increase the your curriculum and strength of your curriculum. So please make sure to do that. And then when you're writing your essays and things like that, we do have some essay prompts on our admissions website. There's, I think, 7 admissions essay prompts. And then we do not require letters of recommendation at all. So most students are not gonna send us a letter of recommendation from a teacher that doesn't like them. So it doesn't add a ton of value. So we do tell students to take time in your application to write out what you are doing in your extracurriculars. Make sure you include your senior schedule fall, including both fall and spring courses as well. So for this year, due to the coronavirus and the pandemic, we are allowing students to apply to MSU as test optional. So what that means is domestic students do have the option of either choosing to apply with or without your ACT or SAT score. Now, please note that we will not be able to change the status if you decide after your application has been submitted that you want to add a score or not, or take the score away. So when you are applying, make sure that you indicate what you would like to do. If you already have an SAT or ACT score, I encourage you to go ahead and fill that out and go ahead and send it. If you haven't taken it, it may be more beneficial for you to send it without a score. So that's up to you as a student. We don't mind either way. We are going to look at your application from a holistic standpoint, so that will not affect your overall application if you do not have a test score. You are still going to be considered for scholarships and other merit awards. For our fall international students are not required to submit ACT or SAT scores for this year, but they still must meet English requirements, and also they can use the Duolingo English test for English proficiency. So in terms of application dates and deadlines, November 1st is the early action date. It is a non-binding decision, meaning that you don't have to absolutely go to MSU. If you're accepted in that time frame, you have until May 1st to let us know if you're coming. So regular admissions follows for applications submitted up till February 1st. After February 1st is on rolling admissions, which means that if students are if we don't have any space, we're not going to be able to take you. But if you're a strong student, definitely make sure you're applying early in the process. I like to tell students to think of Halloween as your deadline. You want a treat, not a trick. Apply by Halloween. So this is one final little video I'd like to show you before I go and answer questions. Wiley, can you turn the sound on, please? Oh. For some reason, the sound isn't coming. Riley, I think you have to unmute. There you go.
Some interesting people. But remember why you're here. March to your own beat and do something that scares you. Ask big questions. Reach higher. Go explore the world. And always remember, home isn't where you're from. It's where you belong.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions? Oop.
We're just going back to the question slides, but so if any of you have any questions, feel free to ask. I do have a few questions that we have right here initially. So Iris, I can kind of list off the initial questions. Great. And if anyone has any continuous questions, just feel free to ask us, but we'll get started with these first four that I see. So Iris, the first question that we got is, if a student wants to go test optional and not submit an ACT or SAT score, what exactly are the steps they need to do to like say that they're test optional?
Okay, all you have to do actually is to go into your application. When you go apply, there will be an option for you to either ask for test optional or submit your test. Now keep in mind that if you go in test optional, we won't be looking at your test. Even if you score a perfect score and you try to send it later, we won't actually be able to see that test score. If you are going with a test and don't have a test yet, we are going to have to wait until your test is received before we can go ahead and review your application. So once you have actually submitted that application and your application is in the review process, you can't change that. So make sure that you've decided when you first come in whether you want to use the test or not, and that's the way it's going to be for your application process.
Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, and just a reminder, if you do want to ask more questions, you can utilize the Q&A tool. So any of you students who are in here who want to use the Q&A tool, you can just go do that and ask any questions you want. We still do have a few more. The next question I have is, when am I going to be able to visit campus going into Michigan State?
Well, that's a really good question. At the moment, we are not taking any kind of visits on our campus. So for our students who are currently wanting to visit, we do have a lot of online options and places online where you can see videos and things like that. I'm going to see if I can pull up that video and give me a second here. See if I can pull up that video and share that with you guys. But we do have, if you go under our admissions website, there is a link. Actually, I'll pull that up too.
Yep, and very, very good question, by the way. I see we have a few more questions. We have a few questions in the chat, so we'll get to those momentarily as well. Thank you for your patience and continue to ask questions as we continue on with this. And Iris will pull up the video in just a moment. But we're hoping to have students be able to visit campus again. We do not know when. We know for this fall semester, we're not able to at least. So thank you for your patience. We do have some virtual tour options that we're currently doing.
So as you can see here on the website, the virtual visit options, there are some, actually there's some experiences that you can kind of look, some video tours of campus down here. So you can click on that and kind of look, there's a whole list of tours, and it's taking a little minute for YouTube to come out, but there's a whole list of videos about campus, and some of the videos that I showed actually are also part of that video list as well.
And if you want to explore more places, you can either use that virtual campus experiences, and you can see like what the Breslin Center would look like where we play basketball, or you can also see what every single residence hall in every single neighborhood would look like. So it's really cool, the tools that we have, that you're able to kind of see it from a 360 perspective online. But all great questions so far. We have a question asking, it's another clarification question on test optional. So I'll let you take this one again, Iris. If I go test optional, am I able to add my scores at a later time?
So once again, like, unfortunately, no. You may add them, but we won't be able to see them, because if you have gone test optional, our system basically blocks out all those scores, so that we're looking at you only from a holistic point of view. So we're looking at your grades, your essays, your extracurriculars, what kind of classes that you've taken, what kind of classes will you take in your senior year. So definitely, if you're thinking, if you have scores and you know you're going to be able to submit them, go ahead and submit them. If you're not sure you're going to be able to take that test and you don't have any scores to submit, just keep in mind we won't be able to take new scores if you come in as test optional.
Absolutely. Next question we have, are freshmen required to live on campus? And if so, what's the reason for freshmen being required to live on campus?
And that is a really good question. So for the reason why we encourage we require our freshmen to live on campus is because as a freshman, you're coming from home, you're new to the campus environment. There are a lot of different things and resources that you might not have. For example, if you live in an apartment, you're not going to have meals as part of your apartment living. You're not going to have safety things going on. You're not going to have access to people to ask questions to as readily as if you are living on campus. So on our campus, we have something called engagement centers, and they are in each part of campus. And the engagement centers, they have academic advisors. If you are feeling distressed and anxious, you can talk to somebody about that. So there's, counselors available. If you are wanting to blow off some steam, take a Zumba class or kickboxing or something like that, that's available, and it's all for free. You have tutoring. You have also even a nurse's station. So if you're feeling sick, you don't have to go all the way across campus or to the hospital or urgent care. You can just go to the nurse's station in your actual engagement center. So this is all there to make sure that you as a student, you're feeling comfortable on campus, that you're feeling not lonely, because you can feel isolated if you don't know anybody, but it also helps to like build that sense of community and really help you make yourself successful as a Spartan, because we really, really want our students to be successful. And actually, I think they said in the 2019 year, we were at 81% graduation rate, the 6 years graduation rate. So that's a pretty high number in terms of nationally. And part of it had to do with the engagement center and the number of students that are staying on campus that first year to make that transition into college.
Yeah, and I know I don't know about you, Iris, but I'm an alumni of Michigan State as well, and I've used those engagement centers firsthand. So one of my favorite things to use for those engagement centers was they have a math help room in every engagement center. So you don't have to go all the way across campus to Wells Hall to go get math help. If I had like an exam coming up, or if I just needed help with homework, I could go to the building right across from me and get free math help pretty much any day during the week and sometimes on weekends. So they have that for writing as well. So if you're also a student who's looking to get like, maybe a resume critiqued, maybe you're trying to write a paper for a class, you need that critiqued, a cover letter, anything like that, you can always use the engagement centers. And the great thing is they're just right at your doorstep. So that's kind of that. And that was a great explanation, Iris. And that's one of the main reasons that we require freshmen to live on campus. So very good questions. And if you guys continue to have questions, like I said, keep using that Q&A tool. I have a few more over here. The next question I have is, how easily am I able to get a job on campus, and what are the job opportunities on campus? I guess, and the students assuming this is a normal year where we're not affected by a pandemic.
So yes, so getting a job on campus is very easy. As a student, you can basically go to the cafeteria or in your residence hall and get a job. The cafeteria one is probably the easiest job to get on campus, but there is a career services network, and you can, after your freshman year, you can also apply for things like being a resident assistant or an intercultural aide. The benefits to those jobs is that your room and board is paid for, so that's kind of a cool thing. But as a freshman coming in, getting a job is incredibly easy. We do recommend taking the job on campus versus an off-campus job, and that's primarily because as an on-campus student, you are able to, they consider you as a student first and then an employee second. So if you have an exam coming up, your on-campus employer, which is MSU, is going to be way more flexible than if you're working at a fast food place or a restaurant or someplace that is not associated with campus.
Absolutely. And I also, being a former student, I was a tour guide while I was on campus, which is a really cool job. It allowed me to kind of be flexible with my class schedule. So sometimes I'd be giving tours in between classes, and Michigan State really allows you to kind of accommodate your schedule because they know that you're a student first and an employee second. So like Iris said, it is always good to take the Michigan State jobs. Those always help. And if you're looking to get a job, you can definitely get a job because we have over 17,000 positions on campus in a normal year. So looks like the next question that we have is, instead of doing extracurricular activities, I had jobs, assuming in high school. Would I put that on my application as an extracurricular, or how would you guys look at that? So I think the student is asking, how would you indicate like you've worked a job in high school on your application?
So on the application part, there is an additional comment section, or on the community service extracurricular section, you can actually add that in. Like I said, take your time when you're writing that section. And I've actually put up my information on the web, on the screen again. Sorry, I grabbed the wrong thing earlier, but this is actually my information. So if you do have additional questions, you can set up a meeting with me. But for students who want to show that they've worked, you can go ahead and add that in your additional activities section, or the additional comments section. Think about this as well. When you are doing those parts of the application, we are going to use that as information that we might use for considering you for scholarships. So make sure you're as complete as possible and try not to be too generic. We do want to kind of see you and the flavor of you as a student and why you're a good fit to Michigan State.
Absolutely. Another question we have, and this is a pretty fun question. What are the dining plans like at Michigan State, and what kind of options do you offer in regards to that? And they're also asking if they're required.
Okay, so as a freshman, it's part of your room and board, the dining option. And I have to tell you, I am an alum of MSU, but a little bit earlier than Riley. So back when I was at MSU, there was limited hours for the residence hall cafeterias. Now though, as a student, you are able to go in and out of the cafeteria as much as you like from 7 a.m. to midnight. Every part of campus has one hall that's opened late. You can also do something called combo exchange, which means that if you're running late and you don't have time to go into the cafeteria once a day, you can swipe in, you can go to the to the Sparties, which is like a 7-Eleven or a convenience store. You can go to Sparties and pick up something to drink, maybe a sandwich and a bag of chips or whatever you need, and be on your way, which is really flexible. You can also use it to run into the cafeteria, get a little container, you fill it with food, and you can leave the cafeteria and take it for later. So like if you need, you're gonna want a midnight snack and you might grab that combo exchange earlier in the day. I understand some students will squirrel away the snacks that they pull from the combo exchange so that they have it in their room and they don't have to pay extra for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And the dining plan is extremely flexible, like Iris said. You, on top of being able to go to the dining hall as many times as you want, you can use that combo exchange, which is essentially you go to one of our convenience stores, which is like a 7-Eleven. You get an A, B, and a C item. So an example might be at one Sparties, you can get chicken tenders, fries, and a drink. And you can use that once a day during the weekday, which is really nice because if you don't want to go into the dining hall or you're more in a rush just to get a snack right before going to class, or maybe it's a little later and the dining hall is getting close to close, you can go to that Sparties and utilize that combo exchange. I know that was one of my favorite things while being an on-campus student for sure. So great question. Dining is definitely amazing at Michigan State. Another great question that we have is, so the students saying that they've heard that Michigan State has a pretty high career placement percentage. How exactly do we set students up for success to have careers after their time at Michigan State?
So that is a really great question. There's a couple things you can do as a student. Every semester during the year when you're on campus, there are career fairs. So the Career Center offers these, and even as a freshman student, these are good practice for going and interviewing with an actual company post-graduation. So anybody can go to the career fair and utilize it. Maybe you're going to one in the winter looking to find a summer job, or perhaps let's say you're an engineering or business major. They have internships, and Career Center will help you find those internships. After graduation, you can continue to even use those resources as you are getting ready to graduate from the university to help you find jobs, they fine-tune your employment skills, like your resume writing and those kinds of things. They can help you with preparing interviews. And so as a student, we're not going to leave you out there. We're going to help you along with that. And that is something I think a lot of students don't necessarily think about when they're coming to college. But if you come in and you're as a freshman thinking, okay, my career plan is to go into this business or into this particular career fair, how am I going to make that happen? So besides the Career Services Center, there is also our undergraduate research and creative activities. So as a student, you can build your resume by actually doing research projects on things that you have an interest in. So if you want to study a particular subject that you're not getting in the classroom, you can work with a professor and gain that experience. If you're going to med school, get some of that experience, you're going to look like a stronger candidate, for medical school or those kinds of things. So, and then in addition to that, other ways that we can prepare students for post-graduation is through our study abroad like I said earlier, you can study on all 7 continents, but then you can also do an internship abroad in your major sometimes. So you can look for those experiences. And if you can tell your employer, hey, I'm not just from Ohio or Michigan or wherever, you can tell them, hey, I've gone to travel and I've been experienced in speaking a foreign language, or I've had the experience in working with a company in another country. That kind of adds to that resume and helps you as a student.
Absolutely. And even to speak further on that, one example I have from my time as a student was, so I was we have a sales leadership minor at Michigan State. And being a part of the sales leadership minor, they kind of had a club that you could join that was attached to it called the Global Sales Leadership Society. So every single week, we'd have the opportunity to network with sales professionals who wanted to hire Michigan State students. And we usually do different workshops to practice different sales skills, because that's what I was studying at the time. Ended up as an admissions counselor, but at the time, I was more interested in the sales route. And they also had what was called a sales competition. So 64 students in the sales leadership minor compete against each other in like a bracket style tournament. And it's really fun because it gives you an opportunity to not only like work on your sales skills, but also the judges are people who work for different companies who are sponsors for Michigan State and the specific minor, and they want to hire Michigan State students. So they in a way, it's almost like when you're doing those sales competitions or pitches like that, you're really practicing those experiences and you're networking at the same time, which is really great. And we have that for not only just if you're interested in sales, but we kind of have that hands-on experience for any one of our over 200 academic programs at Michigan State. So whether you're looking to be a nurse, whether you're looking to get involved with education, we really like to give students that hands-on experience in their career field so they can decide like, oh, is this for me? Or they can see, oh, maybe I want to get more specific with this certain thing. So that's one of the great things about Michigan State is the emphasis on hands-on learning. And it's not always about what you do inside the classroom, but it's also about what opportunities you can have outside the classroom as well. So I'm seeing just a few more questions here. We still have you guys for a little bit longer. So again, if you have any last minute questions, I'll answer. Looks like we have about 3 more, but if you guys have any more, we still have some time for more questions. So another question that we got was, so from the admissions perspective, since we are going to a test optional format, if a student decides to not submit a test score, what other criteria are we going to be looking at instead, or are we going to be looking at anything different?
So this might be our last question, because I see we only have like 2 minutes left. For students who are coming in as test optional, we look at the whole student. So we're going to look at your grades and see how you're doing, what kinds of classes you've taken in high school. Have you tried to stretch yourself? If you're a straight A student, we'd like to see you maybe take an AP or IB or dual enrollment if you can still be like an AB student in those classes as well. We'd like to see you stretch out. We'd like to see what things are you involved in. Don't just live 57 activities, but tell us how you're impacting other people with those activities. Tell us if you have a leadership role in anything that you're working in. That's going to be very important as well. It's something that we want to see as students, that you're forward thinking, that you're really trying to engage your community and doing something better. We have a little saying at MSU that Spartans will, and we talk about how our Spartans are able to really develop and impact our world. And that's something that we look at too. Additional comments section, this is a good place that if you had something that's impacted your grades or that kind of thing, that you tell us about that. Or maybe it's just you want to give us a little bit more about why you have a passion to come to Michigan State. Use all those spaces as much as you can. Don't be shy to like kind of talk about yourself, because I won't necessarily get to know you unless you let me know in your essay. I know we have about a minute left. I just wanted to remind you, I have my information up on the screen. You can go ahead and go to Calendly and actually set up a meeting with me. I suggest that you also email me in the meantime too. So sometimes I will have additional meetings that'll come and go. So make sure you're contacting me if you have any more questions. We'd be happy to answer them. I think we're almost out of time. So one last thing, when you are a Spartan and you're on the street and you see another Spartan, we have a particular cheer we like to say. So before we go, I'm going to say it. Go green.
Go white.
All right. Well, thank you guys for your time, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed their presentation. I just wanted to say thank you all for joining us this afternoon. And as mentioned earlier, the session was recorded. So if you have, if you'd like to come back to it, please feel free. There's a survey that's going to pop up as we end this session. So please, if you wouldn't mind taking that quick survey, we'd really appreciate it. And don't forget to sign up for extra sessions after we leave here today. So thank you all and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
All right. Bye-bye.